With success in life comes more haters. Use it for fuel. In times of need, put them on the fucking mental Rolodex in your mind. And when you don't want to do shit, pull up that motherfucker that you need. That person who said you couldn't do something. Weren't fast enough, good enough, smart enough. Use it for energy. Instead of killing them with kindness, torture them with fucking success. Stay hard.
Well, that fucking worked. What's up, guys? Jeff Cavalier, ATHLEAN-X.com. So for those of you out there, those very few of you who are unfamiliar with David Goggins, well, that 30-second clip is my gift to you to make you well aware of why you need to watch more of him, especially when you need that well-timed kick in the ass. You see, David Goggins is a former Navy SEAL, now turned master motivator, who even the best athletes in the world seek out, like Damian Lillard from the Milwaukee Bucks or Tony Ferguson from the UFC. And what these athletes seek out is not just to be tested and pushed to their physical limits, but more importantly, to their mental limits. And I want to investigate today whether or not there is some validity to the training methods that are, again, sometimes borderline psychotic, but I say that incredibly respectfully. And to that end, there is one quote from fellow Navy SEAL Shane Patton from The Lone Survivor that's actually been closely attributed to the methodology of David Goggins, and that is, anything in life worth doing is worth overdoing. Moderation is for cowards. But is that true?
I'm 49 years old. I train every fucking day. 2 hours of cardio every fucking day at least, along with weight training 4 or 5 days a week. I overtrain like a motherfucker. So a lot of you guys think you guys know what the fuck you're talking about. No TRT, no creatine. Find a doctor that gave it to me. Nothing. Ever. Nothing. I do protein, I eat fucking good. I eat foods that have fucking like 1 or 2 ingredients. None of that bullshit. 49. Stay hard.
And so when it comes to the scale of badassery, if David Goggins is up here, I like to think that I'm maybe down here. And that's okay, I'm comfortable with that thought. However, we do share a couple things in common, and that is we're both 49 years old and both natural. And I'll tell you this, I don't question for 1 second whether or not he's natural. And there are people out there that do. They think he either can't do the superhuman things he does, or he looks too good to be natural. And again, let's look at that physique. Again, I see muscular development. He's got a big chest, he's got big arms, he's got bigger shoulders. But when you start to see the workouts that we lay out here and all the push-ups that he does and all the pull-ups that he does, it is no surprise why those muscles are as developed as they are. But when it comes to overtraining, when you start to have legs that look like this, to me, it's an indicator that maybe you're doing just a little too much. And I understand that this swelling and this pitting edema that David has in his lower body came after a surgery, but it didn't stop him from doing what he was doing. Maybe you should just start to listen to the signals a little bit, because it might actually get you where you want to be faster by taking 1 step backwards. That said, I think it's time to look through the workouts and see, is it too much, or is it something actually you and I could do?
People don't get it, man. It's not like lifting weights. It's like, you know, we go and do like so many reps. People go, oh, you're only doing, was like 90-some pounds on the incline. Motherfucker, do 5 sets of 25 with a superset of push-ups, superset of curls, superset of pull-ups, superset of triceps. It's a superset, man. So we're going through lifting lightweight, but for massive, massive amounts of reps. And so you're like totally swollen, and like it's just some of the best workouts in the world.
So I have to agree here. I think first of all, you have to define what David Goggins' goals are and how they might be a little bit different than yours, because his aren't just to build as much muscle as you humanly can. He wants to be able to go more than show. David needs to be able to perform, and his workouts are based around that. And you can see in some of the specific workouts exactly how that plays out. Like for instance, the first one here is one called nickels and dimes, right? And what you do here is you do 5 pull-ups, that's the nickels part, and 10 push-ups, that's the dimes part. And you go back and forth and back and forth. His goal is to get 2 rounds every minute. So that means 10 pull-ups and 20 push-ups every minute on the minute. And he does it for about an hour and a half or 2 hours. I'm not kidding, for real. Now, I've done this workout and I lasted for 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I was able to keep up the pace, but I could imagine that at some point, very soon, I was gonna start to tire out and not be able to keep up that pace. But he's able to keep going because he's built his work capacity up by doing more of that. That being said, he gets called out. Some people think he edits the videos. Some people think it's not real. He never actually did that for an hour and a half. So guess what he does? He just goes on IG Live and he winds up doing the thing in front of you, live, and shows you everything he's doing. And by the way, when you start to see this clip here, it's cut and edited. That's Jesse's work, not his. This is a live, straight feed of all the work he's doing. There's no bullshit here, guys. He doesn't cut corners. But what he's doing is, again, he's trying to do the work to build up total work capacity, because if you just trained to super high repetitions, the literature's out there. We could actually still build muscle, but you have to take it to failure. When you get to those really high repetition ranges, anything beyond, let's say, 15, 20, 25 for sure, you better put forth the effort that it takes you all the way to failure if you want to see muscular growth from that work. A lot of us don't have that capability. We can't train hard enough for long enough. We don't have that David Goggins gene that allows us to push through the burn, the discomfort, to get to those points of muscular failure. We just succumb to the burn. And if you're going to do that, then your volumes better be really, really high. Because let's face it, we know that David Goggins has muscle, but again, it's probably coming from the accrual of just a lot of volume. I even told you about my wife, who was a barber, who had her hands in this position cutting hair for hours upon hours every day. It was a side effect that she got bigger traps. She didn't want big traps, but as a side effect, she got bigger. I think sometimes David Goggins' muscular growth is a side effect of all the volume that he's doing. But it goes even further than that, because the people that call him out, sometimes they get a visit from David Goggins, or they get invited to go train with him. So he'll just do the workout with you. And most importantly, he does this with his haters sometimes. Maybe only 1 out of every 1,000 actually shows up, but the ones that do, I give them credit, they got balls. But if we look at some more specific workouts, here's another favorite of his. Again, it's push-up based, that's why he's got that big chest. It's 150 push-ups with a 50-pound vest. So how he does this is he does 15 sets of 10 push-ups with 30 seconds rest between sets. If you want to try this, you don't really necessarily need a vest. You could take a 45-pound plate, close enough, right, and subject yourself to that type of workout. Now, the goal of the workout, if a Navy SEAL was doing it, was to be able to complete it in those 15 minutes, just sticking to that rest that I said and being able to perform it. However, mere mortal guy was actually able to do it with David Goggins in 22 minutes. But then he doesn't just overload his push-ups with weighted vests, he can actually do it with tempo too. And I've oftentimes told you guys what a great tool that is. Here he does something called the Bring Sally Up Challenge. The song. He goes down, every time it says Bring Sally Up, he's up. Every time it's Bring Sally Down, it's down. But you have to hold it until it starts to get back to Bring Sally Up again. So it increases the time under tension in that bottom position there, which we know is a good position for stretch anyway. So manipulating timing of the workouts is a great thing. Changing the exercise up and doing something more explosive like a burpee. He's got a burpee test. He wants to know, how long does it take you to do 100 burpees? Now I'll give you some personal experience here. I once tried, I think, on this channel to do 53 burpees, I believe, in 2 minutes. My wife had to come back downstairs about 30 minutes later and tend to me and offer me water because I was still laying on my back saying, please don't touch me, don't come near me, I need to recover, I'm gasping for air. She thought about calling 911. So to give you an indication, could I make it in 10 minutes? Probably, but is this easy? No. A score of under 10 minutes is solid, under 11 minutes is acceptable, and over 13 minutes is totally unacceptable, and you have to do it again. Now, he goes back to more of those pull-ups again, because again, one of my favorite exercises, he likes to do them as well. He has something called pull-ups and chin-ups. What does that look like? Again, people give him shit for this. They say his form is bad. I'll get to that in a second. But basically, he does 100 pull-ups in under 10 minutes, takes a 3-minute rest, and then he just does 5 pull-ups every 5 seconds. Do 5 pull-ups, rest for a count of 5, do 5 more, rest for a count of 5, see how many he can do until he can't do 5 anymore. When he can't, he stops. But that's only halfway through the workout because I said it was pull-ups and chin-ups. For chin-ups, now he goes back after a 10-minute rest, 100 chin-ups in under 10 minutes. And then after a 3-minute rest, he's gonna do the 5 and 5, 5 and 5. So 5 chin-ups, 5 seconds rest, 5 chin-ups, 5 seconds rest. So how long can he go there until he can't do 5 chin-ups? Again, he says stay hard. This is pretty fucking hard. That being said, going back to the form again, people want to critique this form. They say this is no good. I don't see anything wrong with this. Leaning back, this is not a kipping pull-up. And I'd be the first one to call that out. He's leaning back to do the pull-up. He's turning it into a bit of a row, but that doesn't take away from the difficulty of the exercise. He's still got the vertical component. He's still got a little bit of a lean back that might hit the upper back a little bit more favorably over the lats, but again, still good, clean pull-ups here, and nothing that I have a problem with at all. But then he gets into sort of the psychotic stuff, okay? Because I'm not really a conditioning guy. I'm gonna give you my God's honest truth here. And once we start to hear the word run, my knees start to yell at me from down below. It's just what happens. But this one's called run, push up, run. And the goal here is to do a 6-mile run. But at every half mile, he's gonna stop and do 25 push-ups. So run a half mile, do 25 push-ups, run the rest of the half mile, do 25 push-ups. And he starts with a 9-minute mile pace. Then he's got 5 more miles to go though. And the second mile is going to drop 10 seconds off the pace. So now his goal is 8 minutes and 50 seconds. Still do 25 push-ups every half mile, 25 push-ups when you're done with the full mile, then drop the pace down to 8:40, and then 8:30, and 8:20, and 8:10. So at the end of the workout, you've done 6 total miles of work and 300 push-ups. Again, this is taxing your entire energy system. Is this a good workout? I do think it's a good workout. I think it can have far-reaching benefits beyond sometimes what we just accomplished with really focused contractions in the gym. Again, that's not the goal here. It's total work capacity that he's trying to build. But this is where it just gets downright stupid. And when I say stupid, I mean that very respectfully again, because when I look at this workout, my knees actually throw up in my mouth. And this is called the 4-4-48. And that is run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. My God. That's almost 2 marathons in 2 days. But do you have the mental capacity and toughness to do this? Do you even have the mental toughness to wake yourself up and get yourself out for a run 4 hours later? Because again, this is every 4 hours for 48 hours. Not something I want to do. But again, David does, and he can. And it's not a secret when you realize, again, that unbreakable spirit and drive and determination is what allows him to do that. But there is a secret that he has, and it comes down to how he maintained his skin tightness when he lost all that weight. You might want to listen to this one.
You lost 100 pounds in 3 months.
Right.
And you don't, like, you are like cut. Most people lose 30 pounds and they have a bunch of marks
fat.
everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, and their chest is like falling down and stuff. How'd you do that? Is there a secret?
There is a secret, and I hate to even divulge it, but I'll give you a little piece of it. It's a little piece of it. I developed a psychotic weight routine. Mm-hmm. So most people who want to lose weight, they go into this serious cardiovascular, just dropping calories.
Yeah.
So yeah, that helps you lose weight. But what happens is, man, you have this loose skin all over your body.
Yeah.
So I pick a light weight and I go in there and I smoke out that, like, so let's say it's bench press. Let's say I can do the bar 100 times without stopping. You want to pick something that you can do over 100 times without stopping. And if you do stop, you stop in the rest. So your rest position is the up position. You don't rest it, like rack it. You don't rack it. You rest up, and by you resting up, your muscles are still working, and you can only rest for 10 seconds until you get 100 reps.
Yeah.
And what that does, what it did for me, I kind of invented this on my own. It literally was burning so much muscle. Like my muscle was just getting fatigued, the lactic acid, and it kind of kept that muscle nice and tight.
Yeah.
And that's what helped me out a lot.
There's a lot to talk about here. So first of all, this technique that he's talking about is actually similar at a much higher level to the effective rep strategy that we've covered in our 100 workouts here on the channel, where you take yourself to this extreme degree of failure, although we do it with heavier weights and lower rep ranges, but you get back into what we call those effective reps, because once you start again after just a 10-second rest in this case, you're hitting right back into that zone again where the repetitions are challenging. But because the weight is so light here, he's able to continue to grind out. But here's one of the big differences. You're not David Goggins. And don't get me wrong, neither am I. And again, you have to be able to push through that burn and pain and discomfort if you want to see the results of these types of workouts, or more importantly, to see the muscle growth effects of these. Because what I think Dave is talking about here is the ability to grow muscle even at some of these higher rep range, insane psychotic workouts. As I just talked about before, those extreme volumes. And what happens is, as you lose that weight, instead of just being left with loose skin from just losing weight from extreme dieting or just cardio work, you want to be able to fill that skin in much the same way that a shirt sleeve will be baggy if it's loose and there's no muscle in there, and actually fill up if you actually can build some muscle and stretch out that shirt sleeve. The same thing can happen with your skin, giving it a better looking appearance in the long run. That said, if you have loose skin right now, here's the 3 factors that are really going to play into what it looks like on you. Number 1, how long have you been overweight? Right? Because the longer skin is stretched out, the more it's going to lose its elasticity and have the ability to bounce back. To that end, how old are you when you're trying to do this? Because as we get older, our skin starts to get thinner and the elasticity is lost, and you're just going to have a much tougher time as you get older maintaining that tightness to the skin. And thirdly, how much weight did you have to lose? How big, how much were you trying to stretch that skin out? Because the more overweight you were, then the more you're gonna have to struggle with trying to get back that tightness in the skin. And sometimes it's not even able to be eradicated without surgery. That being said, the best way to approach and prevent that loose skin is to have your nutrition and diet dialed in. And that's something David does too, that we definitely need to learn from.
So as far as managing my diet, what I eat, it always varies. But the biggest thing about diet for me is timing. I truly believe in timing. I shut off meals by 6:30.
So this is actually something that I don't really agree with him about. As someone that works out at 10:30 every night and eats dinner at 12 midnight, I certainly don't prescribe to the belief that you can't eat after 6:30 and still remain lean, as I've proven now for over 20 years. I believe that ultimately it's the calories that you take in, the calories that you burn, that nets out to your body weight that you walk around with. That being said, I do believe in eating around the clock.
I don't snack at all in between meals. If you eat 4 meals a day, 5 meals a day, whatever it is, do not snack in between meals.
And that's what I believe in. So the way I say to eat for the most success is to make yourself impermeable to the temptations of eating between meals. And the way to do that is to simply eat around the clock. So if you assign, I don't know, let's say 5 meals, your 3 basic meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you have 1 snack time in between breakfast and lunch and 1 between lunch and dinner, you'll be eating around every 2.5 hours. And let's say you ate a breakfast. The likelihood that you're starving a half an hour later, an hour later, is not likely, especially if you're eating the right foods. And what happens is maybe you'll start to get a little hungry with just a half an hour left. But you don't have to wait all the way till lunch. You're able to eat in a half hour from then for your snack. And anybody can have the ability to withstand that temptation for 30 minutes rather than me telling you, well, you have to wait until the next meal, which could be hours away. It becomes more difficult. And when you know that the clock is determining when you can eat next, you're never succumbing to those in-between meals and snacks that oftentimes are the biggest culprits when it comes to the number of calories that you eat in a day.
I'm a big believer in having small meals throughout the day with protein in every one of the meals, very little carbohydrates unless I'm running big mileage.
And again, here, I'm a big believer in that protein, and what that does is it actually helps you to make it to that next meal, whether it be a snack or a regular meal, because it's satiating, right? It helps to fill you. And not just that, it helps in your pursuit of building lean muscle, so the more protein you have, which I recommend at every single meal, then the better off you are. And by the way, if you're looking for a good high quality protein, ATHLEAN-X Pro 30G available over at athleanx.com. That being said, what about cheat meals?
I have a lot of cheat meals, bro. So I'm doing shit that we did, that I always did in the military. So I'm eating I'll have a whole large pizza sometimes with some fucking cookies. But when I'm not training at that level, my diet is very much about, bison meat, grilled chicken, fucking sweet potatoes, protein shakes, oatmeal.
And that's, again, something that I prescribe to. If you want to have a cheat meal, fine. You don't have to be perfect to be incredibly ripped. But you want to make sure it's a cheat meal and not a cheat day. And you'll never hear David Goggins talking about necessarily cheat days. He understands the discipline, just like everywhere else in his training, to limit it to a single meal. I, on the other hand, sometimes I limit it to 1 meal per year. But again, in some ways, I guess I am as psychotic as David Goggins. But if you're able to work your cheat meals in as just that meals, then by all means, have them. It might help you keep the sanity to keep yourself committed for the full year. But while David Goggins might believe in cheat meals, he certainly doesn't believe in cheating yourself.
I'd rather you hate me and get better than like me and stay the same. A lot of us are full of shit. I was one of those people back in the fucking day. And sometimes I'm still full of shit. We think that we're working our ass off, working hard. We've been working out hard in the gym for a month, but we haven't seen any results. So we get all fucking down and poopy pants and shit. You study for 30 minutes for a fucking test, and you didn't do as well as you thought. What the fuck did you expect? You're not putting in the work. You have to do more. You gotta stop telling yourself that you're doing enough. In life, it's never enough until you feel this overwhelming feeling of shit, man. I'm outworking the crowd. I'm outworking everybody. I'm doing more. It's not until then, once you get there, that's when you fucking know you've done enough. Stay hard.
And this to me is where it all comes together. If you remember nothing else from this, hopefully you'll go listen to more David Goggins, because that right there makes even the motivators motivated. The reason why is because sometimes I even have to check myself. If you walk away from a workout and you know that you didn't even give your own best, you didn't even reach your own capacity, then you know for a fact that you didn't outwork every other person in the world. And what David's saying is, only when you feel, and it may not be true, but you feel like you've outworked everybody, will you know that you at least gave your best. And that's all you can do. And when you're looking to make changes, you have to challenge yourself. If you're not challenging yourself, you're cheating yourself, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you're looking for more of them, tell me who else you want me to cover. If you're looking for full programs, and again, that Pro 30G, you can find it over at ATHLEAN-X.com. Guys, I always say stay strong, but in honor of David Goggins, stay hard. I'll see you next time.